Hi there. Um, I read an interesting thread by one of my friends, one of my conservative friends actually, online on Facebook, and I thought I would respond to it by a video. Because he's one of the few conservative friends that I actually respect, and I think he has a good mind, and he does raise some valid points, and so I thought I would address them. This has to do with welfare and the problem with the welfare system. And I think we need a truer comparison model to really kind of get a grasp of my beef with the usual analysis. When we talk about welfare, maybe we should even change the term welfare because welfare actually is a good word and that word is kind of maligned. But welfare at the what they're really meaning, it seems like on the right when they're talking about welfare is money for nothing. So let's just use that as a marker for welfare, even though I think it has actually other meanings. And specifically, my friend Mark's complaint was about the people on food stamps who are using it to buy steaks and whatnot and other frivolous things. Well, I think steak is always frivolous, but anyway, just basically abuse of that, and and rightly so. I mean that is a valid complaint. But I think we need a truer comparison of welfare to cover the wealthy people that also do receive it. It just doesn't come out as welfare specifically, so we don't really view it as such. And I could talk about oil subsidies and all kinds of other stuff, but I thought it'd be more fun to actually use our own beloved Mayor Ballard as the marker. I think that Mayor Ballard actually shows another problem with welfare because he actually uses welfare even though he wouldn't call it that with his pay increases. So specifically, he recently gave his staff all 18% tax increases. Excuse me, 18. See, sorry about that. 18% raises. That's huge. That's a huge number. How many of you out there frequently get 18% raises? And you say, well, okay, they worked for it. Well, no, not really, because this wasn't because of a particular special thing that they did. He just thought, oh, I'll pay them more money. Okay, so let's compare these analyses. Okay, and worst case scenario. Okay, we have a slacker that's totally abusing welfare system food stamps. Okay, granted, that is a problem. The cap on a single person with food stamps is $200 a month. So let's see, that's calculate that's $2,400 a year. Okay, yeah, it needs to be dealt with. So I'm not diminishing that, but I'm just saying let's keep that figure in mind. 2,400. Mayor Ballard, in his infinite or infantile wisdom, has decided to just poof give his staff 18% pay increases. Say the average salary is $100,000. That makes $18,000 a year. And you could say, oh, but wait, they work. They're hard workers. They're working. Okay, okay, no, I'll give them that. So what I want to do is suggest why not give them a 10% raise increase? That's still huge, isn't it? Actually, it's been a long time since I received a 10% pay increase. Give them a 10% pay increase. You're rewarding them because again, this is 18% that just came out of nowhere. Tax dollars are paying, whether the tax dollars are going towards the slacker on welfare or going towards Mayor's Ballard's beloved employees. It's still coming from tax dollars, so it's still an expense for taxpayers. Okay, so you give them 10% increase. You don't give them 18%. 18 minus 10% is 8% on $100,000 a year. You've just saved the company, you've saved the taxpayers $8,000 in money that would have been spent for really nothing because, again, there's no actual increase in value of work. It's just that Mayor Ballard decided that, hey, I'll give my staff some more money. So look at it from a corporate standpoint, since people like to think in terms of capitalism. You own a company. You want to cut your, leakage, your bleeding of funds. So where would you put most of your effort into doing that? it's not to say that things aren't valid on our sides, but if you have a low-hanging fruit of 2,400 versus a low-hanging fruit of 8,000, I think it would be more pragmatic to work on correcting why we have these, exorbitant salaries for virtually nothing, really, when you think about it. Again, I'm not stripping them of money. For one thing, if you look at the pay increase, it's money they never had in the first place. It's just something that Ballard decided to squeeze out of the taxpayers to give them more money. So I think we need to look at a truer comparison of the welfare system in this terms. Again, this isn't to take away from the problems with welfare or to, you know, say that that's not an issue, but I don't think we really look at welfare and what it should really mean. And the thing about the food stamps person is actually it's analyzed on a regular basis to see where they do qualify, and there is a cap. But with corporate welfare and the greed that's at the top, there is no cap, there is no limit. So it is much more detrimental to society. I think what happens though is we do not see it because it's kind of it. I mean, it's so corrupt and so high level that's out of our lines of sight. We're not going to see the person getting that extra 8% or extra 18% on their paycheck. Um, Chances are they're not going to be shopping in the same stores that we do at that level. So the person on welfare is usually more in our lines of sight, and we see them and we're more bothered by them. And again, this isn't to say that that isn't a problem, but I mean, it's kind of interesting that we focus our energy on what really statistically is lesser of a problem, less costly of a problem, really. If you look at the whole country as a whole and the GDP and, oh, excuse me, gross national product and all those different values, when we at the highest level, that's where the real money loss, the real bleeding, the real drain on the taxpayers becomes. So I think we really need to kind of change the dialogue and have a discussion not just on specific instances of fraud or brokenness, but look at the country as a whole and value creation and how much value we are actually creating at all levels, not just the often maligned low income persons. Anyway, I hope that helps kind of, or at least is interesting and gives people some food for thought. I'm constantly revising and thinking about my own opinions and trying to really think about how we can make the country better as a whole. Thank you for listening.